Hello, 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 and welcome once again. This is another video from Art. I am Art with Rent to Wealth. The goal of these videos is to teach you about real estate investing. It has changed my life, and I've been doing it for 25 plus years, and hopefully I can share a lot of the stuff that I've learned and help you to change your life for the better and do something with yourself if you're not happy where you're at. I'm a strong believer in being joyful. We always say we want to be happy, but we can be joyous. We can choose to be happy, but we have to do the things that, are getting us to that point. We have to choose to be joyful. So enough about my philosophy. Today's video is why you should do quick turn real estate investing. What are the benefits and are you built for this? And yes, I do mean built for this because this is not for everyone. There are a lot of videos out about real estate. I talk about the niche of real estate that I'm used to. Quick turn real estate has been wonderful for me in up markets, down markets, sideways markets. It's always worked out for me. And hopefully I can help some of you all do the same and, gain some knowledge. So let's get started. Why quick turn real estate? Why not do something else? There's a million ways to make $1 million in this world. Why do quick turn real estate? Real estate is the oldest and most structured asset class. Before there was crypto, believe me, there was a time before that, there was real estate. Before there were stock, there was real estate. Before there were a lot of different investment vehicles, mutual funds and ETFs, there was real estate. Real estate is an old and structured asset class, meaning that a lot of the stuff has been done, and it's like taking one of those medications that you can take a newly untested medication and not know the side effects, or you can take one of those medications that's really old and everybody kind of knows what to expect. Real estate is the water of assets in my eyes. Water has three different forms: gas, liquid, and solid. Real estate can give you three forms of income. It can give you cash flow, which is residual consistent money. It can give you lump sums, meaning large lump sums of just a bucket of cash. And it also has tax advantages, which will come into play as you grow in your building wealth. There's more than enough real estate opportunity for everyone. Like I said earlier, there are all kinds of videos and things teaching about real estate. I am a firm believer that there is more than enough opportunity, and actually the more people that are into real estate, the more opportunity that is created. The people that are in real estate move property, they build something up, tear something down, they make things move, and that allows the business to be more and more successful. So that's why I share what I share. There are a ton of different ways to profit on the same piece of real estate. You can buy and hold, you can rehab, you can quick turn it, you can wholesale it, you can bird dog with it, just giving it to an investor. You can repurpose it. You can take something that was once one thing and change it to something else. There's a ton of ways to make money on the same piece of real estate, and that is one of the reasons I love real estate, because there's always something. Most real estate ventures do take startup capital, they take some connections, and they take some knowledge. Now, there are always exceptions to this, where there's somebody who didn't use any money, didn't have any connections, and had no knowledge, and they made a deal. And that's true, you can do that. But if I were to say who I would bet on, would I rather be the guy that has startup capital, connections, and knowledge, or would I rather be the guy that had nothing and lucked up on a deal? I want to give myself the best chance of success, so I'm going to work on getting all three of these. Quick turn real estate gives you access to all three of these things: capital, connections, and knowledge. And what's best, if you're just starting out, you can use sweat equity to start, meaning you can start with nothing and you can build into something without having a lot in the beginning. So that was a very important thing for me when I started out. So some of the biggest things: cash flow, cash, and tax benefits. Three things I love to talk about. Cash is king. If you haven't heard that before, it's the truth. Cash is king. To take advantage of all three of these, a lot of times you need cash first. Cash is going to be the most important starting part that you need out of these three ways to benefit. Cash flow comes after you start making cash. I know there are a lot of people that go in and they do, rentals, Airbnbs, and things like that. Those are cash flows. You're going to find out as you go, cash flows can be sporadic, and they can do all kinds of crazy things. So it's best to have some cash behind you so that when something comes up and surprises you, then you have some cash to take care of and keep your cash flow going. Once you start to get cash flow, you'll start to realize you need a tax strategy. I look at it like I saw a video the other day, and the guy made a great point. He said, when you start off at level A, consider cash getting from first grade to eighth grade. Then cash flow is high school, and then tax strategy is college. And I kind of like that thought process. Because once you get cash flow, and even when you get cash and you start consistently building cash, you're going to need a tax strategy, because we all love Uncle Sam, but you can't have half my money. The average person can benefit from quick-turn real estate with no special knowledge. People go to college, and there are computer programmers that make billions of dollars. There are people that go to college or go to school, and they become a financial wizard, but they spend years and years in school. Real estate, especially quick-turn real estate, a lot of times does not require a lot of special knowledge. You have to get some knowledge with things, but not specifically structured school knowledge. Even a realtor, you have to go to a class, a couple of weeks for a class, but you don't have to have a realtor license to do real estate. And quick turn real estate, in my eyes, is the freshman class of real estate, or the entry level part of real estate, but it's a foundational skill that'll help you. So the next step is to learn the fundamentals, the basics. They will serve you on all levels. The basics that you need to know, if no one's ever told you, you need to get good at finding deals. You need to pick a strategy, and as you decide, the type of properties you're going after are going to kind of change what makes a way to find a deal. But you need to get good at finding deals. You need to get good at networking and team building. You're going to need a team, and you're going to need to network. This is a people business, meaning you need to know people, and people will help you along the way. And finally, you need to get good at negotiation. If you learn nothing else in real estate, if you learn these three, finding deals, networking, and negotiation, you will be fine. You will be more than fine, because these are three skills that across the board, whether you're doing residential, commercial, development, these three skills are going to be fundamental to you. You will learn all of these with quick turn real estate. That's going to help you later on as you grow and get more into different things. The best part about this, which is what I love, you get to earn while you learn. While you're going to school and learning your quick turn real estate, you're earning money at the same time and helping yourself live. If you don't have a lot of money when you start, this will feel like you have made it. It's just the beginning. When I say that with quick turn real estate, I remember when I got my first, I'll give you a quick story. I used to work at a bank. I won't say the bank. It was a local bank. I was the guy that actually worked screening loan applications after they had gotten the loan, to make sure that there was, or to lessen the chance of fraud. So I kind of did the review after the loan was finished to see if there was any chance of fraud or anything questionable. And I did that work there. And while I was working at the bank, I started doing quick turn real estate, and I was educating myself. I was actually on my lunch breaks doing a lot of stuff, and I was taking calls. I actually got to a point that on my job, I was taking calls to do quick turn real estate. That's a no-no for all of you that don't know. And I secured my first 2 deals, and my boss found out that I was taking these calls, and they subsequently fired me from this job. Not to say I didn't deserve it, but they fired me from this job. The beautiful thing was they fired me, had me go up to HR, fired me and everything. I'm walking out of the building, left the building. But this bank also had a title company. And so I had structured my deals, and it was a separate part of the bank. So I structured my deals, and I actually closed both of my deals at that same bank's title company. So you can imagine when I walked into the bank a few days later, and this time I was a customer, and my boss saw me at the bank and was like, "What are you doing here?" Did like a double take. And I said, "Excuse me, sir, I'm a customer. I'm here to do a transaction." And I went into the title company. He went into the title company and went to talk to the manager and pulled him aside. And they told him, "Yeah, he's doing a deal here. We can't bother him. He's a customer." And I walked out of there, and on that deal, it was a quick turn real estate deal. That deal, I did my profit, my take home from that deal was $3,000 more than my annual salary from that bank job. After that, I was hooked. I knew this is where I wanted to go, but I made the mistake. I got the money and I spent it and took my kids to Disney World, literally took my kids to Disney World, and woke up the next day and said, "Oh, I got to get back to work and make something else happen." So when you get this money, it's going to feel like you've made it, but it's just the beginning. You got to reinvest in yourself and in your business. This is a business. It is not a hustle. Your connections will follow you to the next level, meaning that the people that you meet and work with and team up with, eventually they're going to follow you to the next level. And you can, some of them will, not everybody, some of them will. So the same contractors that you used on when you were, cleaning up a place or something like that might be the same contractors eventually you use for commercial in some way. But you'll find that a lot of your connections follow you. Your title company, your attorney, your realtor, different people, they'll follow you. And you need to get comfortable with talking with people and feeling rejected. And I don't mean feeling rejected, but you need to get comfortable with rejection, because that's part of the business. When I first started off, I was not very comfortable with rejection. I used to take, when people would tell me no or hang up in my face or something like that, I used to take it as almost like they were saying that what I was doing wasn't legitimate. But as I kept doing it, my skin got tougher, and I got to a point where I took the attitude that every no is just one step closer to a yes, and it made a big difference. So that's something you got to learn. What you should be doing while working. And what I say by this is that people that have jobs, if you have a job, these are things that you can do while you're still working, and you shouldn't want to rush out and quit your job to do this until you get to a certain point. So the way I look at it, doing a deal is just the start of your journey. You still need to network with investors and people that are in the business. You need to learn their strategies, because you might find a strategy that fits you. You might start off in quick turn real estate and say, man, I really like what he's doing. I think I want to try that. Just know that every strategy comes with its own complications and difficulties and obstacles. But as long as you accept that and you're willing to take on those and the things you don't like, then hey, try another strategy if that's what makes sense. But you need to avoid shiny object syndrome. For those of you that don't know, shiny object syndrome is when you see something, when you're focused on quick turn real estate. Okay, I'm doing quick turn real estate. But then you turn around and somebody says, hey, you should look at buy and hold. And you say, ooh, buy and hold. And you turn and start focusing on buy and hold. And then you start getting into buy and hold. And then just somebody says, hey, you should look at commercial. And you go, ooh, and you go and turn to commercial. You don't want to get shiny object syndrome where every time somebody brings you something new, you want to run off and try it. You want to pick this thing, get good at this thing, and then later on, look at the next thing once you've mastered this thing. The way I always look at it is perfect your craft for at least 1 year, or once you've made profit $250,000. So when you go to do your taxes, you're going to see that if you quick turn real estate, you're going to have this big revenue because they're going to count the properties, but then you sold, and so you're going to have a lot of expenses. When your profit is above $250,000, typically that's kind of a way I would say now you can start looking at other things or seeing how you can expand your business. But you should be doing this for at least 1 year. If you need credit, I want to talk about credit. If you need credit, you need to be building your credit while you're doing this. Take a little bit of the money that you make as you start doing these deals and build your credit up, because you're going to need your credit when you get into larger, bigger projects. You also want to build your connections, because you're going to need connections when you get into larger projects. As I said before, this is a people business, so you do want to build your connections. And finally, you don't need a license to do this, but it doesn't hurt you. People talk about, should I get my realtor license? No, you don't need to, but it always helps to have it, because you'll get access and you'll get a basic education if you don't have some of the basic things. But that's up to you. So the two quick turn strategies I want to point out there are only two that are really quick turn, and that's wholesaling and wholetailing. So I want to talk about those briefly. Wholesaling, a lot of people have heard of, is when you buy a property, or no, you put a property under contract, and you go out and meet a seller, and you put it under contract, and then you take that contract and you sell it to someone else, or you assign it to someone else for a fee. They either pay you an assignment fee, or you will go back and they'll give you like a finder's fee in the closing, something like that. So the pros of wholesaling are, one, it does not take a lot of money doesn't take a lot of credit, doesn't take any credit, doesn't take very, very much money, very little money. You can be wholesaling for less than $1,000. And $1,000 is probably pushing it. It's going to take a lot of elbow grease. It's going to take a lot of work. I've got some other videos. I got a video if you follow my page, I've got a video on $1 million strategy and how to get $1 million cash. And it's a strategy, and I talk more about wholesaling. in that video. So check that video out. Pros are, like I said, you don't need a lot of cash. It's fast. You can do a wholesale deal in a couple of hours. It's going to take time, but your time invested in the deal might be a couple of hours. So it's quick, it's easy, it's low risk. There's very little risk. The most you're going to do in a wholesale deal is probably piss somebody off. You might lose a couple of $100s if you were really not doing a great job with it. But consider if you do, let's say you did 2 or 3 deals, or let's say you were working on deals and you didn't make, the first 2 fell apart, but the last one came together. So you lost the earnest money, which might be $100 on the first 2. So you lost $200, but then you turned around and you completed the deal and you made $5,000 or $10,000 or $15,000. That very much makes up for the deal that you didn't do, the deals that you didn't do. Now, some of the cons of wholesale. That's pretty much what I said. That you can piss some people off because you might get a deal under contract and then not be able to sell that deal. And that kind of pisses the seller off. And I try to avoid that as at all possible. But, sometimes people, especially when they're starting out, they can piss off a seller. I've pissed off a seller in my day. Not that I'm trying to, but we're all out here trying to make it. The other con is that it's going to take a lot of elbow grease. It's going to take a lot of work on your part. And you're going to feel stupid a lot of times when you're doing it because you're going to feel like this doesn't work, or why am I doing this? Other people are doing other stuff and making way more money. It takes time to build this up, and this is what it is you got to learn, especially if you have not learned this business. It takes time. Now, that's wholesale. What is wholesale? Wholesale is a little bit different. It's kind of a hybrid between fix and flip and wholesale. With wholesale, you're going to get a property under contract. You're actually going to buy that property and own that property, and then once you own it, you're going to sell it on the open market. So think of it this way. You're buying a property that fixed up. This property is worth $200,000. You're buying the property as it stands now is worth $100,000 in its as is condition. You're going to buy that property for, let's say, $60,000 because you're going to negotiate that $100,000 house down to $60,000. And once you do that, you're going to sell that property not at $200,000 but at $100,000. So you won't make all the money, but you'll make a good chunk of change. Because you own that property. The pros with wholesaling are that, one, you control the deal, so you can much more control how much money you make on the deal. You don't have to cower to the investors or the people that you're going to deal with. You'll learn that with wholesale, that you have to kind of do what they say because they're the money guy. You're just the guy in the middle. With wholesale, you have the property, so you don't have to cower to anybody. You do what you want to do, and you make your money. The other thing with wholesale is that the profits are larger. You will make more money a lot of times, not all the time, but you'll make a lot of time. Most of the time, you'll make more money wholesaling than you will wholesaling, and it's less risk that the deal falls apart with wholesale because you own the property. If the deal fell apart and the buyer didn't buy the property, then hey, you still own the property. You go sell it to somebody else. So those are the pros. The cons with wholesaling is that, one, you probably will need to use your credit on some of the deals. You're going to need to secure financing because you're buying these properties. And that's not a negative thing, but it's something that you do have to consider. The other con with wholesaling is that you do own the property. So you got to deal with taxes. You got to deal with mortgage payments and things like that. You shouldn't own it for that long if you're doing it right. But being that's the case, you're going to have to deal with those things. So it's more risk on your part. But like I said, as I said, the profits are larger. So let's talk about the average profits on both ways. What will your average deal look like? On a wholesale, your average profit, depending on the property price range, I'm going to say we're at in a range of, let's say, $100,000 houses. If you're in an area with houses where they cost about $100,000, which is not a high-end area at all, typically on a wholesale, you're going to average about $5,000 to $10,000 per deal, per $100,000. And that's if you're average. If you do, some people get $15,000, $20,000 on a wholesale deal. Usually that's in a hot market, and the houses are more expensive. But if you're in a $100,000 range, figure you're going to make about $5,000 to $10,000. This can vary, but this is what I would say is an average. With wholesaling, your profits are greater, but they depend on your negotiation skill. This is going to help you with negotiation. Typically on a hotel, I'm going to do $20,000 to $35,000 profit per $100,000 because I control the deal. I can control the profit much better. You're going to be tempted to buy and hold at this level because now that you own this property, you're going to be like, oh, I'm paying this payment every month. I don't want to get stuck with this payment. Let me just rent it out. Don't do it. Sell the property, make the money. You're trying to build up cash so later on you can do larger buy and hold deals that make more sense. You're not going to get rich off of making $350 on a property, on a house that you're going to hold, and hopefully you got to do another 50 of them to make any significant money and then hope the tenants pay you. Just flip that property, wholesale that property. The better negotiators can make upwards of $50,000 on a single deal. I myself on a wholesale deal have made at least $100,000 on a few deals. It's not the average. My average is probably around $35,000, I would say. But I have done deals where I've made over $100,000 on a wholesale deal. So it is definitely possible, especially if you keep going at it. Now, the secrets, this is my last step, the secrets to success. Follow these tips to maximize your success. Repetition and practice will make you great. That is true. I don't care what industry or whatever you're in. Doing it more and more, you will get better and better at it. And that is the same with negotiating and going back to the skills, the negotiation, the finding deals, and the team building. Repetition will make you great. You must focus on the tasks that make you money. So as you grow, you're going to get people to do the other tasks that don't make money, and you're going to focus mainly on the tasks that make you the most money, which is negotiation. If you don't know, negotiation is the number one way to make money in any industry. Look it up. Negotiation is the number one way to make money. So you want to focus on that. You want to get in the mindset of doing multiple deals simultaneously. People, when they start in this business, they think I've got a house under contract. I've made it. No, you need to get in the mindset of doing multiple deals because this is a business. That's like saying Apple would say, we sold an iPhone. We've made it. No, they have to sell hundreds of thousands of millions of iPhones because it's a business. You've got to sell multiple houses consistently to make this a business. Don't automatically go to the cheapest areas. A lot of times when you're thinking, $100,000 houses in my area, that's really low. I'm going to go to the cheapest area. I'm just using that as an example. Go to an area that makes sense. Go to a middle market area. It might be 250, 300,000. It might be 500,000 in your area. People at those levels still have the same issues that you're going to have at the $100,000 level. You're just going to have to market to them. And your target isn't price. People focus. That's why I say don't go to the cheapest areas. People say, well, I'm going to look for areas where it's $100,000. About $100,000 should be your minimum of the average price. But your goal is equity, not your goal is equity in the houses. That's where the money is. It's not the price. I would rather buy or deal in an area that had $400,000 homes and they had 90% equity. So that means they only owe about $40,000 on the property than an area where the houses are $100,000 and everybody owes about $90,000. I can make much more in the area where there's a lot of equity. So that's what you want to focus on. Now, the big question that's going to come up to everybody is, how can you buy at a discount? How are you buying these houses? You said a house that was worth $200,000 fixed up, it's worth $100,000 in its position now, and you're buying it at $60,000. How can you buy at a discount? You are looking for motivated sellers. I like to call it motivated equity. When you find someone who money is not their main reason for selling the house, there you've got motivation, and they've got equity in the house. Now you've got motivated equity. You will do great deals if you can focus on finding motivated equity. So people that, I'll give you an example. Somebody who my mom had a house I live in New York. My mom had a house in Oklahoma. I was raised there. I moved out of Oklahoma, came to New York. My mom passed and she left me the house. Now I've got this house. It's paid off free and clear in Oklahoma. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to go there. You buy houses in Oklahoma, just give me something for it and you can deal with it. I don't have to deal with it. That person's main motivation is not money. It is to not have to deal with the problem. That is a motivated equity position. You want to find those positions. There's a million examples of that. Divorce, death, usually it's some kind of bad situation that comes from that, but not always. Some people bought into a property, an investment property, and decided they don't want to make $300 a month renting it out. So they wanted to get rid of the tenant. Now they want to sell the house. All of these are reasonings that allow you to find motivated equity. So Again, I hope this video has been helpful. I am way over my limit on time. I try to keep these videos 10 minutes long, and that did not happen at all. But I wanted you to get this, and hopefully this helps you all and furthers your career. Hit the subscribe button, like our page, follow, and I will be happy to share more insights, and I'll keep videos coming to you as long as you guys find them useful. Until next time, happy hunting. Thanks.